we're going to make mistakes. That's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes the hardest thing to do is forgive ourselves,
Yep.
but we have to do that. But I do think then it helps us support others because they're going to stumble, and we know how to approach that as well.
Chad Peterman here, and you are listening to Can't Stop the Growth, a platform for leaders and teams to grow and thrive. We highlight the importance of personal development, pursuing greatness, and always chasing your potential. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to another episode of Can't Stop the Growth. I'm your host, Chad Peterman, and today I have a very special guest. I think I met him probably about a year or so ago and just really connected with him, and we had a great conversation last week, just all things leadership. And oftentimes you'll hear me talk on here, and it's really just me talking about what I'm learning and what I'm doing to become a better leader and all of that stuff. And I thought it would be really cool to have our guest here today to talk kind of leadership and what he's doing and what we've seen kind of within the industry over the years and different things like that. So again, really excited to have him. I think he's going to provide a ton of value. And without any further ado, would like to welcome the president of Global Air at Rheem, Mike Branson. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Chad, thanks a lot for having me.
Well, Mike, why don't you give maybe the listeners? I know you've done I know you've done the Rhino podcast before, which I've listened to, and a few others. But maybe give listeners a little bit of your background, and that way they have kind of a frame of reference, and then we'll kind of jump in.
Yeah, I'll just jump through it quickly. I grew up here, not far from you, on the north side of Indianapolis. I'm a technical guy. I'm a nerd. I always wanted to be an engineer growing up. Wanted to know how things worked, and ended up studying at Purdue, studied engineering, but also wanted to serve our country and ended up joining the Navy. We can talk about that later, but worked on submarines, aircraft carriers, those kind of projects, and then evolved into industry after that. Came back to the Midwest. I worked in automotive for a while on climate control, and then about 25 years ago, got into the heating cooling business. I've been really around helping lead innovative products that would help serve contractors better, and then evolve from products into, running businesses. And there it was really appreciating the relationship of a manufacturer with their distributor partners, their channel partners, the relationship those partners have with the contractor customers, and how we serve those customers and help provide solutions to them. It's been absolutely fulfilling, and I love what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, I think the trades, there's a lot of great leaders within. And then also on the same hand, I think there's a lot of growth, or room for growth, should I say, within, contractors and leadership and building companies and different stuff like that. I guess I'd ask you one question, just because I don't think I was aware of your service. Obviously, thank you for that. What were some of the things that you kind of learned, I guess, in your time there that, from a leadership perspective, that are still things that you carry forward? Because I can't even, I've got to imagine that's got to be a tough, environment. You got people from all different backgrounds and all different places and all of that, trying to bring them together to kind of fight one common.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I can say I took out of it is that leaders emerge at a very young age. Mm-hmm. A lot of times in industry, I've seen this even as I've transitioned into the civilian world and in industry, there's this thought that it takes time to become a leader. And then I reflect back in the military, that's not true. Mm-hmm. You're a leader from day one, whether you're enlisted or whether you're a commissioned officer, you're pulling people together for a common cause right away, either indirect leadership or direct responsibility for leadership. I remember at officer indoctrination school getting commissioned and, being saluted by a chief for the first time. That was very humbling because here's a guy that's given 25, 30 years to what he does. He's not saluting me because of who I am, but it's a recognition that, that we're working together, we're going to follow a direction, we're going to get something done. So to me, that was one of the biggest things, that certain people have attributes and we can all learn those to become leaders. And so to me, when I came in industry, which I've been in for decades now, it's helping others realize, hey, there's talent that we can tap at a very young age. You've demonstrated that, as you've come into the company. And I think that's a great, and I imagine a lot of the folks that own their own businesses, whether they started them organically or acquired them through, or succession planning with their families. But it's embracing that and realizing there's people in their organization that they can tap for that too.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. And I think that, a lot of people ask me, well, how'd you build this, or what does this look like? And, I'm always quick to tell people, like, I didn't know. Like, there's not a book that you read or a class. I'm a political science major, for God's sakes. Like, there's literally very little that correlates to what I do today. But I think that, to your point of, there's a leader within us all, if you want to embrace those skills and really have a passion for serving others. What have you noticed, and you kind of made mention of it, as it relates to kind of those characteristics that you may look for when you're, looking for leaders within your organization? Yeah,
whether it's, obviously I want to develop from within as a priority, but also bring in other talent to have a diversity of thought and a diversity of experience. But over time, a lot of things you look at, but there's just kind of three things that made it easy for me. I just kind of use three eyes. And I look at, does someone have intelligence? Maybe they know the job, or maybe they don't. It's okay if they don't, but do they have the aptitude to learn, right? So it's kind of intelligence. The other one is initiative. Are they curious? Do they want to learn more? Do they want to apply it? So intelligence, initiative, and then the last one, just I think we all expect, is integrity. Just this authenticness, this doing the right thing when no one's looking kind of thing. And so I have a little scorecard I use, and I use it with the performance development cycle with employees that we have, and certainly do it as I'm recruiting and developing people as well. It works for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we use hungry, humble, smart, which I think is the
exact same thing. I think
thing.
That sounds like the exact same thing.
As you were saying it, I was like, I'm wondering if this is almost identical to what we use.
Hungry, initiative, humble, integrity, smart, intelligence.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So someone repackaged that, and it works much the same. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think those are, three things that if you can find that, I can teach you.
Exactly.
And you're gonna be smart enough, you're gonna be hungry enough, and you're gonna be, humble enough to serve others.
Yeah. The one that's hard is when maybe the intelligence isn't what you need for that role, but you've got this initiative and integrity, and so how can I reapply that?
Yep.
How can we work within what we've got here and take it farther as well? So.
Yeah, I think that's a great point for those, young leaders out there that are like, well, I don't know everything that I need to know. And I'm like, well, I didn't either. I had two of the three. And then you begin to get smart and, start to take in. And I think if you have those other two, then the smart kind of, you develop that.
Yeah, and you probably did this naturally, and sometimes we can do it by helping people, and that's good mentors, people within the organization and outside of the organization. I think that's so important. I remember when I was in graduate school at Purdue, I'd already committed to the Navy, had to do some research for them, and a professor that I had, Dr. Paul Krause, I just loved to listen to him, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd be doing work in the office next to him. He'd call me over and he'd take a call. It might be somebody he's doing research for, whatever. And I could just listen and soak that in and understand his approach. He had the approach of always having, I was a technical guy, so I just want to get to work on a problem right away. But he kind of taught me, no, you got to soften that up, build a relationship, just those kind of things. Today, a lot of us at Ream that have been in the military are formal mentors as well to veterans. There's a program called American Corporate Partners, where every year I get assigned a new person that's transitioning from active duty to civilian life. Most of them are reaching that 20, 25-year part. Some could be earlier. And we spend a whole year with them as they're exploring what they want to do. And they've got initiative and they've got drive, but a lot of times they have anxiety. It's a great resource of people that we can help transition. Sometimes they become people that contribute to our industry. But it's something I imagine a lot of the folks, listening here, veterans or no veterans or others, you don't have to be a veteran to participate in a program like that, to help and be a mentor to others.
That's awesome. I think the only piece that I would put in there as it relates to mentorship, because I could not agree more, it has been a huge piece of kind of my personal development and what we've done. I always tell people there isn't an original idea around here. We've taken it probably from somebody or saw what somebody was doing and adapted it to make it fit and all of that good stuff. But I think too, mentorship can have a stigma around it, because it if there's one question, it's like, well, how do you get a mentor? And the one thing that I've learned is that, and this may sound kind of creepy, but I was like, a lot of my mentors, they don't know that they're my mentor.
Yes.
Like they didn't sign a document. They didn't do anything like that. No. I just watched their every move.
Well, and some in those invisible mentors or those silent mentors, some you want to watch and learn from. Other ones you want to watch and say, I don't want to do that. And that's good too, right?
Yep.
That's valuable.
Absolutely.
Too.
Well, and I found over the years that those kind of silent mentors, as you said, as you watch what they do, they've transformed from those silent mentors to people that I can now text or call pretty regularly. But I think that that's just kind of the natural progression.
Yes.
And I've always found too, one of the tips that I always give young people is, while you think you may not be able to help them in any way, you can. One of the tips that I would give anybody is send them a book.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that they're a leader and they're growing their company and you read a good book, send them a book. I've sent so many people books just randomly, and it's amazing that, not a lot of people are reaching out to the people at the top offering help.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think when you're able to do that, you can create a connection of like, oh, shoot. Well, yeah, that's good. I'll read that. Or,
yes.
And there's kind of some reciprocity there, which I think is good.
I think another important thing too is expectations in mentorship. No one should expect answers from a mentor, right? To me, it's an experienced person to have a conversation with.
Yep.
And really the objective is to help me think.
Yep.
And hopefully we can all approach it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I think is really cool. Let's talk a little bit about, building companies. Obviously you've been with Ream, and working to grow that. And, I think so many people have questions about like, okay, what are the building blocks? How do we build a company, or how do we, grow our teams? What has been your experience with that side of things?
Yeah. I've had experience throughout our careers as we do. And since joining Ream, I've been here as a leader for the past 15 years. It's a wonderful company. Mm-hmm. It's a privately held company. We've been around for 100 years. Some of the companies we've acquired have been around longer than that. Friedrich Air Conditioning is a part of our family. Heat Transfer Products Group, Rude, so we've got companies that have been around a long, long time. But being privately held has been a value to us because we don't have to look at just results at the end of a quarter or the end of the year and what cash flow looks at that time. We can make what we believe are the right long-term decisions. And to us, as we grow and build, it's that long-term thinking. Now, we're fortunate. We think really long-term. Our short-term plan is no less than 5 years.
Okay.
Our long-term plan goes out generational. So we put together 10, 20-year plans, regularly, and then we build upon those. But I think that's important, thinking about where you are and where you want to go, and then you make the investment. To me, what I love about leadership is working together with a diverse group of people to get them aligned in a vision. They contribute to that vision, but that's really key is getting aligned on the vision. They have ownership. We have ownership at that. Then putting together the strategies and the tactics and then letting them loose. But the key at the end of the day is the people that you have on the team, and their commitment, their capabilities, the support that we provide, because that's our job, is to support them. So that's how we grow, and that's how we grow organically, but that's also how we grow with M&A. I can think of 10 companies over just the past handful of years that we've added on around the world. And that's been a key piece of our growth as well, so balancing it. But to me, it's underlying it all. It's about the people, but you got to be clear on where you want to go and how you want to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a couple of questions off of that. What one is more like tactical, like when you guys look at an acquisition, why are you I assume that there's probably a different reason for every single one, but when you look at an acquisition, what's the conversation look like around that?
Yeah, the targets for us, we're a global leader in air conditioning, water heating. We own companies like Raypak that make pool heaters and boilers. We own Emax electric tankless water heaters, just a lot of different companies. So our acquisitions will either be to help us grow in the space that we're in and to be able to grow in profitable market share, or in an adjacent space, like going into Friedrich, like going into Heat Transfer Products Group that makes Russell, Witt, Kramer, cold zone refrigeration, or an adjacent geographical area. We've purchased 3 companies in Europe recently, as Europe is decarbonizing rapidly. going from gas to heat pump technology for water and space heating, we are heat pump leaders. We can be a part of that. So we were not as significant 5 years ago, 10 years ago in Europe. So that was a strategic. So I'm using a global nature, but it can be local as well. Do I want to grow into that next county or that next state with the business that I have? Okay, maybe I'm focused on residential add-on replacement. Do I want to have specialists? Does it make sense profitability-wise for me to be in multifamily? You know what I mean? But I think, to me, there's got to be a connection. If you jump out too far, it may be hard to make it a success right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we've done quite a few acquisitions over the years and really kind of understanding, what are we looking for? To your point, is it to get into a new area? Is it to, add another service line, whatever it may be? I think it's important to get clear on why are you making this acquisition? Because to me, there can be a lot of shiny object syndrome around making an acquisition, buying a company. And from what I've learned, it is a lift. You better be clear on why you're doing that and kind of the benefit that it has.
Yeah, a real natural one, though, in our industry is multi-trade, right? Or whatever term you want to use to call it. Maybe when someone starts more in water heating and plumbing or more in HVAC or more in electrical, but combining those together tends to make a lot of sense. It's a big target for us to help contractors in that area since we do water and air both. The products do communicate. Heck, we have products that transfer heat. You think about it right now in the summertime, we have all this air conditioning that we're doing and throwing all this heat outside. Why are we throwing that outside? Why don't we capture that and put it in water and save money? So there's a lot of things we're doing initially in commercial products, evolving to more in residential as well. Our heat pump water heaters do that today, but there's a lot that we can do. But I do think that is a natural progression for most.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things you said was, you guys craft short-term plans and then also long-term plans. I guess take me through what that looks like. And then what are you, someone that is sitting out there going, shoot, I don't even have a plan for next month, let alone 5 years from now or, 10 years from now or whatever that looks like. Like, what are the most important things to kind of consider when you, or do you guys consider when you're building out that kind of vision plan, whatever it may look like?
Yeah, I can go through the whole process, and it is sophisticated, as we look at the markets and how they've evolved and the technologies and all that. But really, I think an underlying element to all of it is, where do we have a right to win? Do we have a plan that we have a right to win? Can we win in this space? Do we have a plan to get there? So that's just an underlying thing that's common in what we do. But certainly, we look at the markets, we look backwards. What did we say we were going to do? Did we do what we say we're going to do? What unplanned concerns, what unplanned opportunities came along the way? How did we apprise those? And then what do we project the market to be going forward as well? So, we have to look at that in our different markets and our different segments that we've got around the world. And then for us, it's a lot about product, right? We make product that moves heat. That's what we do. I make product that moves heat. It's really, but and there's a lot of similarities between it. So we have to make good, reliable product. That's the most important thing for us to do. And then we have to provide that to our distributor partners and be good transaction partners for them, be easy to do business with, and provide products that they can provide to contractors that are easy to install, easy to service, have good support. That's what we want to do. That's what we focus on. So part of it's like a traceability matrix.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? And then make sure the things that I'm doing are going back to what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's easy to get distracted.
Yeah. And I think too, one of the things that we talked about last week was, I have so many people that they'll come on tours. They'll, I coach some contractors as well. I always tell them my advice is, don't get paralyzed by the details, because any process in building a company is going to be messy.
Right.
It's just natural. You're going to screw things up. You're going to make mistakes. It's just all part of it. But I feel like so many people, one, they don't make a plan and they have no idea where they're going. So there's no reason or meaning behind any decision that they make today because they don't know where they're going, or they get paralyzed and they want to plan it out, every little detail, and try to never make a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're exactly right. You've got to be, just use your 5 fingers, maybe 3 of them, right? And these are the key things that we're doing, and keep going back. Is what I'm doing getting me farther in that direction? I don't, some of the folks are probably old enough to remember the Franklin Covey books, that people used to use. And Covey, had the whole thing of prioritizing all of my tasks, my A, my B's, my C's. The C's go in the drawer, because you only have so much time. So we have to be very thoughtful and intentional about where we spend our time.
Yeah. There's no doubt there. And, I think a lot of that planning, and as we've built, our company, it's a lot about that plan often involves, okay, we're going to do this thing, but it ultimately reverts back to, I need the person to do that thing because, I'm good at certain stuff. I'm also bad at a lot of stuff. And I can make that list a lot longer if we bring my wife in here and she can start writing down some things of what I'm not great at. I know. But what would you say as far as, the importance of finding specialists, finding people that are really good at a certain thing? How impactful has that been for you guys?
Well, it's essential. And I agree. There's areas where we just don't have expertise, right? Until I became a business leader, finance wasn't my thing.
Yep.
I understood it from a high level concept. Once I had a finance partner, once I had a very capable HR human resources partner, I appreciated the talent and the skills that they provided more and more and more. And so they're at my side all the time, right? For everything that we're doing. Then I became more confident to hire people, to work with people that I didn't understand what they did. I thought I had to understand everything that everybody did that worked for me. And I realized how limiting that was. And then once I had that trust in others, I still have to be able to support them in the right way and help them hold themselves accountable. But then it's so liberating. It's so liberating. You get so much more done.
Yeah.
So much more done. I have people call me, they got a problem, right? And they come with solutions and they say, Mike, I just want you to be aware. This situation's happening. This is how I'm solving it. And I said, thank you. And they said, well, yeah, I'm sorry I had to bring this to you. And I'm sorry you're going to have to worry about this. I'm not worrying about this. Why not? Because you are. Because you're doing such a good job worrying about this. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I think that's, it's such a great point is, finding those people who are good at those things that you aren't. And I think that's really and when I talk to people, it's like, that's how you're going to scale, is because they can do whatever you're trying to do. They can do it 20, 30 times better, faster, more efficient, especially with technology today. I mean, I go in, like our accounting department and our CFO, I always joke with them because I'm like, I can kind of operate a spreadsheet to a certain degree. It may take a few Google searches and YouTube videos to figure out how to put the formula in. But watching them do that, and obviously not spreadsheets is not the only thing they do, but like just to see them work, it almost like, I'm like, I don't even like touching a spreadsheet anymore because I know that you can do this a heck of a lot better than I. And it's just silly for me to do it at this point in time, but you just see their skill and like their understanding. And to your point, yeah, they worry about a lot of things that I don't worry about because you're handling it. You've got it under control.
Exactly. And we're all aligned for what we want to do, right?
Yep.
And we've got meetings that we gather, whether it's as a group to very quickly, are we still aligned and on track support, or individual checkups, whatever process we use that works to make sure we support and take it through.
Absolutely. And I want to touch on something because you've said it a number of times, and I know that in knowing you and talking to you, it's extremely important. What does it look like for you to kind of create that environment to where you mentioned supporting people? What steps do you take to create that environment within Ream where everybody can be at their best?
It's interesting as it's evolved. 10 years ago, I was leading the U.S. residential commercial heating and cooling piece of the business. Now it's evolved to 7 of our P&Ls around the world. I used to know every person that worked for that division by name, and I was very proud of that, and I knew them personally. It's grown to the point now where I don't know everyone's name, but I want to have that same spirit of being connected with everyone and supporting the leaders that support them. To me, I think, sharing what our vision is important. Talking and communicating is important. I mean, it's all over the world. I've got a factory in Dubai and operations in Saudi Arabia and, responsible for everything in Canada and all that stuff. So you got to get around to different markets. But when you're there or when you're interacting, or maybe it's virtual, how are you connecting? I really like the one-on-one time. I'm excited. air conditioning division is doing a national meeting with all of their sales leaders in Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay coming up because we're getting ready for our big Pro Partner Conference. And we'll have several hundred people there. I'm excited to be out there and to spend time with them, one-on-one. I think that's important. I think, making sure people are aligned with what we're doing, but really showing genuine care is really important.
Yeah. I think that's so critical. I'm glad you said that because that is, one of the most important things is, I think people search so much for how do I get buy-in? How do I get these people to do that? And I'm like, it's pretty darn simple. Like you don't have to be the smartest one in the room. You don't have to have all the answers. Just show them you care. Mm-hmm. And if they ask for something, let them know you're handling it or you're looking into it. And again, you don't have to have all the answers. I know there was always a funny meeting. There was a time here when we were without a plumbing service manager. And so my brother and I looked at each other and were like, you know what? We'll just run the plumbing department. And I'll remember the first meeting. I said, guys, here's the deal. And I know nothing about what it is that you do. And we're going to keep it like that because you guys are really good at being plumbers. But what I'm here to do is to answer any questions, take care of any problems so that you can go out there and do your job and not have any headaches.
Absolutely.
Does that sound like a good plan? And they were like, oh, really? Like, yeah. I'm not going to tell you how to do that or what to do or when to do it. You guys just go do all of that. I'll take care of all the stuff behind the scenes and make sure that you guys don't have to worry about it. And they were like, okay, that sounds great. I'm like, yeah, that's how it should be. I'll do the things that I know how to do, and I'm not going to be here hovering, asking you a million questions.
Did anything about that experience, maybe you knew it already going into it, but anything about that experience evolve what you were expecting in that next leader for that department?
Yeah, I think so. So, Dan, who leads our plumbing department, I've known Dan now for, I don't know how long he's been here. I always consider people, are they an old building guy? Were they with us at the old building?
Oh, okay.
And I kind of place it because our old building was a lot smaller. I can oh yeah, I remember seeing this person. They were old building guy. So it's at least we've been in this building since 2020. So he's been with us for call it 6 years, 7 years. And, I think he does a phenomenal job of doing that same thing. Dan does it in a little bit different manner, but I love it. But he knows how, he's a plumber. He knows how to do that stuff. So his really, kind of love language is the wrong word, but the way that he shows that he cares is there's never a time when a guy needs something that he won't just run out there and I'm going to help you. Like I'll be in a crawl space. I'll be, doing whatever to make sure that we get this knocked out. And I think that's where he gets the buy-in of his team is because they know he isn't afraid of anything.
That's awesome. And
he'll go get it. He'll go figure it out and get the problem taken care of. And he's not, well, hey, you go do that. I'm going to go sit at my desk.
So kind of that same spirit that you were demonstrating in that interim period of time, but even with the detailed experience, technical knowledge for those applications.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll never forget when we promoted Dan to the manager, his one question to me at the very end was, he's like, hey, I got a real serious question. And I was like, oh boy, hopefully this isn't going off the rails. He goes, I don't have to wear like khaki pants and a polo, do I? I can still wear what I wear right now. So yeah, he wears the uniform. That's excellent. That's where he's comfy. And I said, you can wear whatever you want. Dan. Knock it out. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, I think that is the biggest thing. I think so many people get in trouble in leadership because they're trying to fake it.
Yeah.
They're trying to fake that they care. They're trying to fake that they have all the answers. And it's like, you don't need all the answers. Like the goal is to create a group of people who are all helping each other, whether you're in charge or not. Being in charge just means that you have a different set of responsibilities.
It's hard to put our egos aside sometimes, probably,
Absolutely.
And that's what we have to do. We have to let ourselves be vulnerable.
Yep. I think vulnerability for me has been one of my biggest learning lessons in leadership because, coming into the business, it was always trying to prove myself, right? It's, hey, it was dad's company and now the son's coming in. I can only imagine some of those guys are like, whoa, what's this little knucklehead going to do? And it was always trying to prove and be like, unflappable, like coat of armor, like this is what it is. And, I think having kids and different stuff like that, they're in no coat of armor that's going to help you raise two little ones and then come to work and get all of that. And finally, I just kind of gave in. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to share. And a lot of the talks that I do are around that is yeah, I'm not having a great month and it kind of stinks. And I'm trying to balance this and that and over here. And I'm really struggling right now. But you know what? I know some of you are, and we can all kind of struggle together. And I think as a leader, putting that humanness out there is just because you're the leader doesn't mean you need to be invincible.
Absolutely. And we're going to make mistakes. That's okay. Yeah. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is forgive ourselves, but we have to do that. But I do think then it helps us support others because they're going to stumble, and we know how to approach that as well. But yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you brought up that vulnerability piece because that's something I don't even think we talked about or that I don't have in my notes, but is just something that has been really kind of front of mind for me. And that it's okay to be in a bad place. No one is 100% happy and just on cloud nine all of the time.
That's real, and we see it. We learn it at different times based on different skills, but I think that's part of wisdom and maturity. Yeah. And it even makes us more impactful.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I want to be respectful of your time, and I've really enjoyed kind of talking with you about leadership and the business and everything. And I know you've talked about Ream as well, which is obviously a industry innovator and leader and all of those things. Is there anything else you'd like to say about kind of Ream and what you guys are doing and technology wise, kind of what the outlook looks like?
Yeah, it's an exciting time. Everybody that's in the industry, all of us here know, we're a heavily regulated industry, and, keeping up with regulations can be a challenge. I'm sure, we're challenged with it on the product side, but even locally with labor laws and disposition of waste laws and just all these things that we have to do and taxes and everything else. And so we do a lot of times, and those on the HVAC side, and over the past couple of years, it's been very heavy regulation. We had the M1 product that was called the higher energy efficiency product that went into production for everyone over the past couple of years. Right now, we and our competitors in the industry are launching lower global warming potential refrigerants. So our products are launched and in the market. We've had a lot to do that. We're in this time now where we have a bit of a pause. We have a few more years till NACA 4, which is the next big water heater efficiency regulation, which, by the way, is going to have a lot more heat pump water heaters in the market. We have a few more years to the next commercial one. So we have time to innovate for more things to provide tangible, real good solutions. So we're excited about right now. We are a leader in heat pump technology. I do hope everybody recognizes that. We're on our 12th generation of heat pump water heaters. We have a lot of things we're investing there. But for us, this innovation is around more efficiency of transferring heat, how contractors interface with these products, and giving them the best solutions that they have. We've got a lot that we'll be launching and talking about next year at our Ream and our Rude Pro Partner conferences. Those will come up at the end of March and beginning of April next year at Mandalay Bay. I hope everybody here can reach out to the Ream or Rude distributor to find more about that. Keith Urban's going to come and sing. I can't share with you our keynote, but I know this group is going to like the keynote speaker. We're going to announce that next month. So awesome. Great opportunity. We expect about 7,000 people.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And in Vegas, so you can't go wrong there. You can have a good time.
You can make some bad choices.
You can make some bad choices. Yeah, they can go one of two ways. You can have a great time. Or
one of our customers at the last one, he was so excited because he went and had this clover put on a tattoo. Okay. He had a little too much fun, had this clover on. Yeah. And he had all of his kids' names put on each leaf. And I said, that's not how you spell your daughter's name, is it? Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Oh, man. Well, Mike, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day and talking. I know that listeners surely have a couple of nuggets that they can take out of here as it relates to leadership or, building teams, building companies. I think it's just so critical. While the majority of our listeners are in the trades and we think technical and we think all of this, in my mind, the leadership piece is the most important, because it's always been my belief that if I can build a place where we treat our people as our number one customer, they're going to treat everybody that we come in contact with as the number one customer at that point in time. And so as we go out today, again, I can't thank you guys enough for listening to what Mike has to say. And, I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you want to keep listening. Leave us a review if you like today's episode. And most importantly, remember, growth is a journey, and it's all about taking small steps forward each and every day. Keep pushing yourself, embracing new challenges, and never stop striving for progress. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and remember, you can't stop the growth. Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to get connected, you can find me at chadmpeterman.com. To see what our team's up to, you can visit petermanbros.com. As always, keep growing out there.